Good evening and welcome. We're glad to have such a big crowd here with us this evening for our council meeting. We always like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll ask Gary Harris if he'll come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And if you all will join us in a moment of silence where you can reflect on the meeting, you can think about what you want to get from this proceeding, or you can engage in silent prayer. Thank you all very much. Before we move on, I would like to ask for the pleasure of council to consider a motion to amend our agenda to include an update from New River Community College by Mr. Chris Calfee, who's our representative, and that would take place immediately following the farmers market presentation. Do we have a motion? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Council members, you also have minutes from December 11th, January 22nd, and February 12th. Are there any adjustments to the minutes? I do have one thing, Melissa, on the minutes from the, I believe, hold on, I'm getting to my note. I think so. Hold on. I'm going to get to my note here real quick. I've been moving things around too much. It was at our last meeting on February 12th where Mr. Gillespie, on our council response to the treasurer, Mr. Gillespie asked how many training would it take them to train, and it's days. So that's all. So just that note. So do we have a motion to accept the minutes as amended, or are there any additional changes? We have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now we do have some presentations coming up later in the meeting, but right now is the portion of the meeting where citizens can talk about any matter for the public record. You can come to the podium here. You have 3 minutes or less. Please state your name for the record and use the microphone, and we'll keep track of your time right here. So the floor is now open for citizen comments on public matters. Seeing no mad dash to the microphone, we will close that portion of the meeting and we will turn to the Radford Farmers Market. As many of you know, one of our great opportunities in this city to share talent and food and all kinds of activity is the Radford Farmers Market, and they have done a wonderful job for a number of years. Here tonight is Gabriella Smith, who is going to do a presentation on the Farmers Market and where we are growing together. Gabriella, please come on down to the podium and use the microphone. They know you're going to be good.
Oh, thanks. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed council members. It is my definite honor to be here tonight representing the vendors of the Radford Farmers Market. I'm Dr. Gabriella Smith. I have sold unusual plants, hard to find fruit, things like that for the past few years at the Radford Farmers Market, but I sell under the name Gabriella the Garden Sage, so I have seen you many a time, Mr. Mayor. I'm here to update you on the Radford Farmers Market growth and future goals, and we're hoping that this presentation opens a renewed dialogue between the city and the market on how we can grow a mutually beneficial relationship. Oops. Different from the ones at the university. Okay. So I'm a relative newcomer to the farmers market. As I said, I've only been selling here for a few years, but the Radford Farmers Market has served the community for over 2 decades. At times, there were just half a dozen vendors, but recently we've experienced phenomenal growth. Last year, we had over 40 vendors' applications for the market. We just opened our 2024 application last week, and we're expecting at least that much, if not more, for this coming year. Research shows that interest in locally produced goods, especially food, is a growing trend, and it's one that we as a market aim to meet head on. The vast majority of goods available at the Radford Farmers Market are produced within a 50-mile radius of our location, and we are truly a local market. We're currently located right across the street in the field next to Glencoe Museum, and we're able to utilize the parking lot of the Regal Rexnord Colmorgan when the grass is wet or unavailable due to city events or something like that. However, the lack of a permanent location has meant that over the past 7 years or so, we have occupied 3 different spots within the city, and this creates confusion for folks trying to find us. We also know that there have been discussions in the past about developing that area in the Glencoe field with paved paths perhaps and covered permanent tables, possibly a stage, and we would like to revive those discussions. All right. So farmers markets benefit communities in obvious and less obvious ways. The main benefits include stimulating local economies. So at our most recent vendor meeting, where I think about 2/3, maybe half of the vendors were able to attend. Not everyone was able to attend. This was a few weeks ago. We did a casual estimation of how much income that meant to those businesses in attendance. It was about $85,000 for the market season, which runs 6 months. Now that's not a huge amount, but for small businesses, smaller local farms, it represents an enormous portion of our income for the year. We've had a lot of interest in attending the market, and we're trying to conduct some research to get a fuller picture of our economic impact in Radford. We're currently collecting data on the average amount of money spent per visit by our customers and which local businesses they also patronize when they come from outside of Radford to attend the market. Farmers markets support healthy communities, providing not only access to things like fresh, locally produced food, but nurturing community connections. For example, last season, we hosted Radford graduate students doing mental health outreach. We had a kids' seed planting project and other events. In our recent customer survey, over 60% of our respondents noted the community feel of the market as one of their top 3 reasons for attending. We also increase access to fresh local food. So we have fresh figs and pawpaws, berries, apples, microgreens, fresh breads, dog treats, Instagram-worthy desserts, eggs, jams, jellies, popcorn, salsa, pickles, just about every veggie you can imagine. This is in addition to creative handmade goods, body care things, cut flowers, gift items. We also preserve local farmland, support rural livelihoods and rural employment, and we do this all in a fun and family-friendly environment. Now, why does Virginia need farmers markets? This is some research from the Virginia Farmers Market Association in 2019. They did a pilot project of 7 markets around the Richmond area just to see what impact it had on that small, localized scale. I'm going to skip most of this for the interests of time, but we can come back if you have questions. All right, so specifically, Radford's farmers market goals. So things are hopping behind the scenes at the market. Our big goal for this season is getting our official 501c3 status as a not-for-profit entity, which opens the door for donations, multitudes of grants, increased collaboration with other organizations, as well as more folks sharing the workload of our growing market. We have 3 research projects in the works. As I mentioned, we've done an online survey recently. It launched last week. We've had 140 responses so far, which, quite frankly, as someone with a research background, I'm very envious and wish that happened when I was doing research. The information we get not only tells us who comes to the market, what they'd like to see, what they like about our market, but also it's going to give us information that will aid in grant applications. I've embarked on a project interviewing regional market managers and board members for best practices, and then we have a student unit survey ready to launch for next week with the goal of connecting more Radford University students with the farmers market. We're also exploring ways we can help address food insecurity locally through programs targeting low-income folks, children, veterans, and the elderly. We're engaged in expanding our social media outreach, increasing the number of planned activities, both entertaining and educational, that are part of our regular markets. We are now a member of the Virginia Farmers Market Association, which comes with benefits and programs to support us, such as being promoted on their website as part of their Virginia Farmers Market Trail. While we would love to dialogue with the city about potential annual budget lines for the farmers market, we are actively pursuing multiple avenues for growth and revenue. A major future priority is the establishment of a permanent location with structures including covered tables, ADA-compliant pathways, and ideally with a performance stage and restroom facility. We think construction for such a setting would have an outsized benefit for the city beyond just what the market provides, and we will, of course, be seeking money and materials through donations and grants, not just city funding, but we believe this would be a beneficial partnership to be in dialogue with the city about. So what are folks saying? As I mentioned, we've done our survey, so here's a few things we've found out. Folks love our family-friendly location. They say we have wonderful vendors, which we do, not that I'm biased. We have a great selection of goods. They love our quality and convenience, and they love the community feel that they get coming to our market. Consistently, what folks want to see is even more vendors, which is likely considering our growth. Food and beverage trucks, which we increased last year and we're working on again. Music and kids activities are in the works on a more regular basis starting this year. And again, they'd like to see seating and a permanent structure to help with the inclement weather and help folks with mobility issues get the full benefits of the market. All right. Finally, we do have a few specific requests for the council tonight, but we believe these to be relatively low-cost, easy fixes for the city that would be immensely helpful and powerful for us. First, this is a screenshot of Radford City's website about the farmers market that I grabbed yesterday. When you search the Radford Farmers Market, the city's website is the first one that comes up. Now note, the months listed, the times of operation, and also the location are all wrong. So the picture is also from 2 locations ago, but we'd like this updated as soon as possible before our April 20th first market.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. The former city market location at the depot at the east end by the university, it still says Radford Farmers Market. We haven't been there for many years, and we can discuss why that location isn't really viable for us at the moment, but having Radford Farmers Market up there on the depot has caused a lot of confusion for people, especially university folks or people coming down Radford Road from other areas, so we'd like that amended and taken down with some haste if possible. Finally, there are some signs that the city has provided that still give inaccurate months and times, which we would like corrected. So these include the brown metal informative sign off exit 105, and there's one near campus on Tyler Avenue. And I believe there was some signage removed from the east side that we could maybe use at our newer location. Since we are on the Virginia Farmers Market Trail, people find us online. They travel fairly far. While most of our people come from within a 5-mile radius, according to our research, about 30% or a third of our visitors come from at least 6 miles away, many over 20. And so having accurate signage of where to find us is really important for our success. So as I mentioned, we're gearing up for our biggest farmers market season yet. We're growing, and as we grow, we would love to collaborate more with the city. We do believe, and I genuinely believe this, that we are a gem in Radford's crown, and any budgeted funds that are allocated to us would be money well spent. We really contribute to the community, and we are part of the community. Collaboration on a permanent location and structures we think would be a win-win for all concerned. And we know that Radford is a wonderful place to live and to work. I came here in 2009. It's been an absolutely fantastic place to live for me. And we, as vendors at the farmers market, would love to partner with the city more so that we can grow and thrive together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you to all of our vendors. We're so appreciative of the work you do, and thank you to everybody who goes and shops at the market. I try to come down every week. I don't know if I make it every single week,
You're
but
pretty
I
close.
try to get down there every week. Would you do us a favor and email the specific language you would like to see on the website so that we make sure we have that? If there are signs that have incorrect information, the location of those signs and what you would like it to say, and then we'll figure out what we can do with that. But just so that we know exactly what we need to work on to take care of that. Those are a couple of things that would be very helpful for us.
Absolutely, we'd be happy to do so.
But we thank you. Council members, what thoughts do you all have?
You said that we're on the Virginia Farmers Market Trail on their website. Is that information correct, or are they pulling it from our incorrect information?
Since I'm not the market manager, I don't actually have the access to that website, but Kathy would be
Check
able
and
to
ma-
correct it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Great. I just wanted to. Mhm.
There's farmers market trail people that they'll take 2 weeks of vacation and go visit all the farmers markets.
That's fun. I wish I could do that.
We have a good, and then after they're done with us, they go spend their money because all
Yep.
of us tell them, there's coffee houses, restaurants, and everything downtown.
Breweries, pizza houses, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Side note, has the information changed and that's why it's wrong now, or has it always been wrong?
It's been
I'm
wrong
just
for,
wondering. I know we changed
don't know
locations, so that may have
how-
changed the
we changed
timing or
locations a couple
something.
years ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kind of bless you.
So maybe it just changed and we didn't update. Okay. Okay, I was just curious. Thank you. And I know you said that you wanted to have a more permanent location, which I think is great. You know, Blacksburg has a great location that you can always go to, and it's on the corner, and it's got these beautiful, wood structures and everything. Is there I mean, we're 10 square miles, so we don't have a lot of open property. Is there some place that you guys were looking at, or just open to any suggestions, or do you have it?
Really liked the Glencoe field.
Okay.
People seem to really like that. There have been a couple alternative sites knocked around, but it seems like since the city uses that for concerts and things like that, anything that would be built to suit us would also be suitable for the events that are held in that field. So I
Multi-use.
open to discussion, but right now it seems like a good location.
And
Okay.
Gabriella, I'm going to ask that you come back to the podium when you answer the questions. That's more of an internet streaming thing so that everybody can hear you.
This is my first encounter.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Kelly, you have anything else?
No, I appreciate you coming out. I like all the information, and I think it's a really good idea that you got, kind of an economic impact study, so you can present that. That's only going to give you more information to get more
Yeah.
money and support and all those things, so.
I mean, we have such a varied group of vendors with so many skills and talents. It's really been collaborative to try and get all these things together. So I love stretching my research muscles
Yeah.
and things like that. So we're drawing upon a pretty talented pool of people, and we're hoping to make some big positive changes.
Yeah, I come down, it's great. I really enjoy it, so, and the kids do too. They spend too much of my money at the farmer's
We're
market.
gonna, well, we have a lot of kids, and we know percentage-wise how many come and what age ranges they are now.
Yeah,
And
okay.
tell them for Mother's Day, we're gonna have seed planting for kids again, so.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you for coming.
And we got more questions. You're not off the hot seat yet.
First, I just want to say thank you. That was a great presentation with a lot of good information, and you brought a lot of information to us that for some of the signage issues and things that I think that we can certainly with the website be able to fix hopefully
you.
pretty quickly for you. So yeah, I think that that's great. When you do get that information that for the economic impact, would you share that with us? I think
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
very, very just good information for all of us, and I totally agree with you that I think that it's a asset to the city, and I'd like to see us work with you guys. And I know that a project like this has been on the radar for several years, and it's always a challenge when you talk about financing and things like that. But I do see the positive impact it could have on us. And I appreciate your effort. You've done your homework, and you've really are taking that initiative. So I do look forward to working with you. And if you could just share that information when you get it, that would be good to know.
Absolutely. Like I said, in a week we've had 140 responses. So I've just looked at the raw data today. But once I have it in an amount and a report, I can absolutely share that with you. And I'm looking forward to it. And we all are, actually.
Still going on?
The survey is still going on.
Where can our
If you go to the Radford Farmers Market Facebook page, you will
Okay.
find a link there, and then some of our vendors have also shared links, things like that. But the Radford Farmers Market page, I re-upped it yesterday, so
okay.
the link
I'll try
is
to
there.
share that as well.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's great. Okay. Am I free and clear?
Nope, not yet.
Jesse, you all have anything? Bobby, you got anything?
Bobby?
Yes, likewise, I just want to say, great presentation.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, my pleasure. All right.
Well, I was just going to say that what I really appreciate about your presentation, and I hope that everyone would take note of, is that you've given us some really easy action statements of what we can do to improve. There are some bigger things that we can't always move as quickly, but there are some easy things that we can, and we want to take advantage of those opportunities. Now, what I would say is, if you see it, don't wait 3 years till you're here presenting. Like, to people in the audience, to our community, I feel like I'm redundant with this message, but how many times do I go down Main Street and I see that sign, but I quit looking at it because I've been seeing it for so long? So I just would ask that everyone, let's keep our eyes open and let's look for these small changes that can have such a large impact on our community and on the farmers market in particular. So I just really appreciate that you were able to identify for us some easy marks. Those we can do.
Well, that's appreciated. Those will be a big impact thing.
And
they're
so
small
the
fixes.
location issue, and probably the mayor, I'm guessing, I'm sure he's going to probably cover this, because this has been something that we've also, we are frequent shoppers at the
Yes,
farmer's market.
yes.
I think most of my plants around my home have come from there. But a part of the farmer's market, for people that have been watching some of our deliberations of the last few years, was tied in closely with an amphitheater project.
Yeah.
And so the amphitheater project, we really were looking at as a phase project. It was we're gonna have to bite the elephant one bite at a time on this, not just try to eat the whole thing. But the first component of that was the farmer's market. So it's still something that I think we all value. I think, we as a community have some things that, we have some moving pieces we need to get into place first. So don't be discouraged if some of the bigger asks cannot materialize as quickly as we would like. But just know that these have been an ongoing topic and an ongoing theme and priority for us as well. So be patient with us on that. I do think, with you kind of grabbing the bull by the horns and getting the nonprofit status will allow, a lot of opportunity, even with grants. A lot of them have some matching gifts that,
Exactly.
there might be opportunities there for that as well. So I really appreciate all that you've done to get them to where they are. If anyone in the community has not been, shame on you, because you're only hurting yourself. That market is amazing. The vendors are helpful and amazing. Highly recommend it. And really, that's all I'd like to say. Just really thank you for giving us the opportunity to make some things that are easy right.
Well, thank you for being willing to work with us on the little stuff and the big stuff. We've been around for a long time, and honestly, for the past few years, this has been this is a fully volunteer-run organization, which means that, especially when people are working, Kathy, our market manager, has done everything she can, but it is a job for multiple people, and so setting up the nonprofit makes sense not only for us as an organization, but we need to share the load. And that's why one of the reasons I'm doing the interviews with the other market managers and board members to see salaries, best practices, where's the best way to find grants and matching funds and things like that. So we'll have some real practical ways that we can implement the bigger picture pieces as well. But yeah, we've got a lot of homework to do, but we've got an incredibly energized and dedicated group of vendors that I think are really going to help make this market the best one yet for this year.
Well, one of the boards I'm on is the Heritage.
yeah.
Yeah, so the thing with that is, I don't know, I mean, it might be a good conversation with the Heritage Foundation to talk about the store that they have now, that they really are encouraging local vendors, they're wanting support, the cottage businesses here in the community. So I think I saw Scott here, he may be trying to tiptoe out the back. But, you know, we were just having a board meeting talking about ways to continue to expand that and get more participation from the community. So I would encourage anyone that is doing a business on the side that would like some help with exposure,
That
maybe
would be
not
me.
exactly the amphitheater, but something, that's a good place to start. And I know they're very open to adding some diversity to what they currently have.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah. Well,
So,
thank you very
Scott?
much. Hey, Scott.
Well, I'll just wrap up by saying, thank you again so much, and thank you to all the vendors. We know what a labor of love this is, and you do have a partner with the city. We worked this out for Glencoe and with Cole Morgan and Regal Rexnord when it became obvious that some of our previous locations weren't really going to be viable. So we really want to see this go. As Jesse said, we did a study a few years ago, so some of our newer members of council may not know about this. Maybe that's something we could forward to everybody again, that showed the Glencoe site as a possible co-location for farmers market facility and a small amphitheater and some things along that line. Now, again, we need a few $1 million, so if anybody has a check they'd like to write, we're certainly happy on that, but it's something that's been on our radar for the last 5 or 6 years for sure, that we want to try to figure out and see where we can go with it. But we thank you so much and appreciate this, and we're excited to continue the conversation. Do you know when you'll have your nonprofit status?
We are currently working on that, but as it's getting into market season and we're all volunteering, we have to have a meeting to decide how quickly that can happen.
Okay.
But I will definitely keep you all
Keep us posted, yeah, because we definitely want to champion that, and that may also, again, open the avenue for some additional funding, and if people want to make donations and things like that. All
Sounds
right?
great.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank
Now you
you.
can get off the hot seat, right? Woo! You did great. Happening all around our community, and one of those good things is all the Radford students who end up going to New River Community College. Here this evening we have Chris Calfee, who's a member of our school board, but also a representative for the city at the New River Community College Board with an update about NRCC. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Appreciate it very much. As you mentioned, actually, I am a appointed member of the President's Advisory Board at New River Community College. Truly an honor and a pleasure, since I'm also an alumni of New River. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my time there. So part and parcel to that is I feel it's incumbent upon me, as well as beneficial to all of you, to get an update on where we are as a college and what our partnership really is, because I think there's a lot of people who don't truly understand that. New River Community College, being a community college, is currently supported by 5 immediate localities. Radford being one of those. We have a total student population of 3,876 students for the 22-23 school year. Obviously, coming up in the new school year, those numbers will be updated. 346 of those students in person currently are from Radford City exclusively, okay? Of those 346 students, 39 of those students currently participate in what we refer to as our ACE program. And it is a great opportunity for local people who find alternate solutions to a 4-year immediate intern university. Maybe they're taking a different path in life, or whatever the case may be. But it's also a fiscally responsible way to gain higher education. With that, the ACE program is phenomenal. It originally started over in Giles County. The students are required to give a certain amount of community service back in lieu of part of their educational funding. We've actually heard stories, and I could regale you with them at some point in time if you want. Just let me know and I'll be happy to share them. But we have students who even aren't required to do community service, but they do it voluntarily because they understand the benefit of community. That's what New River Community College brings to our area. At this point in time, New River Community College does have a stipend that is provided from Radford City, and it has since its inception. That is actually based directly as a formula that we use, And every year we look at it, and every year we talk about it, and every year we say, our communities are still in the same position they were, please leave it alone. And we vote on it as a board, and so far, for the last 4 years that I've been on the board, we've left that number static, okay? What we do is we actually take, and I'm happy to provide this to the council if you'd like, we take the percent of total population of the area, the percent of true property value, and we actually divide that by 3, multiply that by the percentage of student population, and then divide that whole thing by 5. There is a breakdown and a logic behind each one of those parts of that formula. Dr. Rao is phenomenal explaining all that. Even as a career banker, once he gets too far into it, my eyes sort of glaze over a little, and I say, Dr. Rao, I trust you. It makes sense. It always has made sense. But utilizing those numbers, what we come up with is based on Radford City's last census data and our population in the city of Radford. We have determined that there's $8,226 that come from Radford City proper that goes to New River Community College. Now, we actually represent, as Radford City, 8.290% of the local contributions. We really are the lowest amount provided to New River Community College of any of our 5 partners, okay? So with that being said, we're actually getting the most bang for our buck, truly. New River Community College currently is also the home for the Southwest Virginia Governor School. It's an additional service because they needed a new home. And at New River, we opened our arms wide and said, we'd love to have you here. From last communications we've had with the faculty, staff, as well as the students, they've settled in. They're very comfortable. They're very happy with the new surroundings and the facilities that are being provided to them. And they're all having a great time and learning a lot. NRCC is working with non-traditional ways and different sources as well, with collaborative effort with Radford City Public Schools on a grant scholarship related to work ethic from the Micro Works Foundation. So if you're not familiar with that, every year that foundation provides about $1 million total for local communities that can qualify for their processes. And those are distributed to students who are looking for a non-traditional education, not just a straight 4-year degree. We have students who can come in right now, even through the ACE program, potentially with no money out of pocket, and can receive a operator's certificate from Caterpillar. They could leave NRCC and go to work in an industry that could easily pay them $75,000 to $80,000 a year to begin. Okay, can't say that with a lot of places. They're offered internship programs, etc. So truly a viable option for many, many people. With that in mind, this last part does bother me as an alumni as well as a community member, but we did receive, and I wanted to update the council, Dr. Pat Huber did let us know that she has decided to retire in December. Dr. Huber has served in one way or another at New River's campus since 1988. So if any of you know Dr. Huber, you know that Pat is a force of nature. She really is. She's an amazing individual. I made notes so that I would get through it because she's an influence to me personally as well as professionally. But Dr. Huber has been a powerful leader in the community, a commanding director at New River Community College. That's actually a little bit of an inside joke to the board up there, but if you know her, you'll understand it all too well. She's also an inspiration to students, faculty, and staff alike. She truly embodies the spirit of the NRCC family. So, the board is currently working with the Chancellor Diore in Virginia, in Richmond. He and his staff are working through the process to begin finding a new president for NRCC. As anyone who's been through those processes knows, finding the right person at this level does not happen quickly, and it is a process that must be given the attention and scrutiny that it deserves. The process is already underway. I can assure you, as you and the council, that as well as the community, that the entire President's Advisory Board at NRCC understands the importance of the task at hand. I do not feel that anyone could ever replace Pat. However, I'm confident that the board and I have the honor and pleasure to serve for years. We represent our local communities, and we will do our very best to find a person suitable to take over the reins where she has led us. So, again, understanding at this point in time, the city itself and everyone in our community, we're all prepared to tighten our belts where we need to. We all need to get, as a banker, the best return on our investment where we can. Folks, I'm here to tell you, New River Community College is where it's at. It really is. As an extension of our local schools, not every person everywhere needs to go on to a four-year university. Not every person needs to go on to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a banker. You know, there are people who deserve the opportunity to pursue their dreams. And through an internship program, a certificate program, as an adult, I've looked at, you know, different products, I call them, but different programs they have at New River. I wanted to learn to be a better unmanned aerial pilot. We have a program for that at New River. You know, you can go through that and you literally come out and you take your exam for Part 107. There's, you know, if you want to be a better welder, you want to be a better caregiver, there's programs for all of that. You can go up there and it really is a bargain. You know, you can go in, take those programs, just a one-off, a la carte, and leave with more information at a bargain price. And if you haven't been to New River, it's changed, it's grown, it's amazing. It really is a world-class service opportunity. And we have the campus up here at New River Community College in Dublin, as well as the Christiansburg site. If you remember going over there and watching a movie at the mall, you wouldn't recognize it. It really is a phenomenal location. Ask to take a tour sometime, I'm sure they would allow you to do so. But it's my plug for New River. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be on the advisory board up there at New River. It has been truly an honor and pleasure. I come home after every board meeting just giddy, and I actually call my wife on the way home and she's so excited with the things that I've learned and things that are coming at New River. We do listen to, I say we because I'm on the board, we do listen to the community, things they need. We found out recently there was a huge need for licensed EMTs and EMS workers because we didn't have enough people qualified to run the ambulances in our area. You know, people had a desire, they just didn't have a way to do it. So they started classes and people were actually able to get their certification at New River. So huge resource, it's right there, it's bargain priced. I don't know of anything we can do in the city for $8,226 and support over 3,000 people, you know, really. So, any questions?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the information. I know we all do. I did have a question about the 3,000 and then the 300 and some.
Yes.
For Radford. Are those full-time students or taking as little as one class?
At this point in time, those are their FTE, so those
Okay,
are full-time
so it is
equivalents.
FTE.
Yes, sir.
And so it's about 350 or so, 346 you said for our FTE for Radford?
Radford in particular, 346 and 39 that were participating in the ACE program.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, Chris, appreciate the information you brought to us, and I think we were even talking as we met with the EDA is looking for a workforce and stuff like that. There's no doubt that New River Community College is a huge asset in that with the trades and things of that nature. So appreciate the information and certainly would like to collaborate more with that too as we look at the West Radford Commerce Park and these other places to how that may look and for recruitment that hopefully a big industry comes. So.
And I appreciate that actually very much. Ed Dalrymple is our representative for the State Workforce Development Agency. If you haven't met Ed, you need to. He's an amazing person, wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to service industries and workforce development. Ed actually drives in from Northern Virginia and is at every one of our New River Community College meetings. I almost think he's on the board at this point because he's just at every meeting. He finds it that important. So, but yeah, he'd be a great resource for you, and I'm happy to get you in touch with him if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. I'm curious, with the ACE program, have they seen a huge change in their admission numbers?
There's been an increase in the participants with ACE, which is good. We've actually even had some students who are, it all depends on what they can qualify for as far as their student aid, as to how much of the ACE program they participate in. But a huge is a very relative term. There has been an increase because of the interest in it. It has been an ongoing program that has grown and actually grown itself. Angie Covey is fantastic at going out and getting, donations and growing those funds and being very cognizant of that. It really is. It's almost like Santa Claus when she comes to a meeting to speak to us. It's like, there's money showing up. We know there is. But that is a program that's near and dear to her heart, as well as all of ours. Mr. Chichester, the representative from Giles County, actually is one of the ones who started the program. So because of ACE, yes, we do see more students coming who are eligible, who may not have been able to in the past. Because even at New River, even though it is a bargain, there is still a cost. So we've had several students that we've discussed in board meetings that have been able to participate because of funding, even outside of ACE. Our group up there with Financial Aid Services is amazing. They've actually been able to locate funding sources as well for single parents, as well as veterans who may not have enough available to go to New River, but they're not full-time enrolled, but they find sources for them. So they really do get very creative. Same thing with the Mike Rowe Foundation. You work with it, you do what you can. We have some folks here at Radford City who are phenomenal at grant writing. So we said, okay, let's pull some resources and see if we can find some money for some students. But ACE has been a good shot in the arm. New River is still down on our student numbers from what we would ideally like to be, but we are one of the few agencies that are seeing a noted increase in our numbers.
So I know the stipend, that is different than our participation in the ACE program, the numbers for that?
The stipend is set up by formula that we provide that goes to a portion of capital that's built into that. We provide the amount that the college asks for.
Do you remember what we're contributing or last for the ACE program?
50,000, and the other is what he'd said earlier.
Okay, I was wanting to make sure that everyone knew those are two different.
They are
different
absolutely
kitties,
categorically
two
different.
different contributions. Okay. Thank you. That's very good information, so.
And anytime, we do actually update the numbers, obviously, every year, and I'm happy to come back. And I'd love to come back and give you all updates at your pleasure, because again, as one of the two appointed members for Radford, I serve on that board at your pleasure.
Any other questions or comments?
I just wanted to say thanks for coming out. That was great information. I wasn't aware of some of that, so I'm glad that it's out in the public. Congratulations to Dr. Huber. Sounds like she was an amazing asset, so
Yes.
we're lucky to have her for that long, and I know you guys will get a new replacement that's equally as wonderful. And I just want to say thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And to all of our folks who have been connected with New River and have been a part of that, thank you. And congratulations. It's a wonderful institution that we're lucky to have in our area. We do want to move on. We don't have any old business tonight, but we do have some new business. We have engaged with the Chamber of Commerce in a memorandum of understanding for a number of years. A proposal has been made once again for fiscal year 2024, which include assistance with economic development, and particularly with many of our Main Street businesses and other small businesses here in the community. Local government initiatives. We could not do the trick-or-treat trail or some of the other activities that we have throughout the year without support of the chamber and the help that goes along there. Fostering of communication so that everybody knows a little bit about what's happening all around the city of Radford. And then, of course, our Festival of Lights promotion. That is a huge piece that we've had for a number of years, and the chamber has been kind enough to serve as a fiscal agent for that. So we are thrilled to have Dan McKinney here, our Executive Director of the Chamber, to do a presentation for us, and we can talk a little bit about the MOU for this year. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. City Manager David Ridpath, thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure to come talk to you all. I know I'm on the tail end of 3 presentations tonight, so I will try to make this quick. So the first thing I want to do is just go quickly through our annual report, which we have up on the screen. Thank you, Melissa. So it's kind of a nutshell of what we did last year. So the first page that we go to, and I think I have the clicker. So I'm supported by a very, very strong and wealth of knowledge and support by my board of directors. So if you all could stand, I do want to recognize you all. So Tara Tellerico from Highlander Hotel, Paul Johnson with New River Radio Group, Keith Johnson with Ameriprise and Longway Brewing, Abram Williams with First Tree Properties, Brad Angel with Brad's Barbershop, Michelle Beal with Ballpark Signs, and the newest acquisition to our board is Rachel Doyle with Radford Coffee Company and Hazelby Catering. So I would just want to say thank you all very much. I couldn't do the job I do without these guys. So we have others on the screen, but these are the ones that are here tonight. So thank you very much. Moving on. So 2023 was a very busy year. It seemed to fly by. I didn't even take any part of my vacation, it seemed like, so I carried over quite a bit. So I'm trying to take it this year. That's a segue. So 2023 was a huge focus on our existing members, first off. So we tried to show a lot of love to the existing members that have supported us over the years and tried to pull that synergy together. That's about all I'm going to say on 2023. It was a great year. We did culminate 2023 with our annual awards gala, which all of you all were there, so thank you very much. It was just a fun night. It was great to see all the different people talking and making connections and that sort of thing. I will segue really quickly to jump on the train for the Radford Farmers Market. I don't get down there near as much as David does, or Jesse, I'm sure. But I do try to go out and take some pictures and videos and share those on our social media and that sort of thing. So if you would like to get with me and we could figure out how to better support you guys from our end, because I do feel it is an asset to our community. And then we also support the ACE program at New River Community College by supporting or by collecting donations and funds during our different events throughout the year. So we do have a check to present them coming this spring. So rolling right along. Goals achieved. We secured some new memberships, and we've definitely strengthened a lot of current partnerships. Our Facebook and Instagram, our social media presence was growing organically, so not a huge percentage, but I believe it was over 10% growth in people following our pages and that sort of thing, so it's well over 3,000. We certainly did ribbon cuttings, and we started doing some member spotlights where we do a little interview with businesses and push that out. And then we also do I contract with the New River Radio Group as well for the AM Hodgepodge show when we're on there once a month. And then with small business season, which is typically around the holidays, although I like to say it's an all year long thing, but the Shop Small program was a big success. Our membership and new members kind of held fairly static from the year before. So like I said, we focused more on trying to make sure we had all of our programs and policies that we were doing in place and making sure we could support them. Some of the new chamber members, this screen just kind of just shows you Radford on the River, the Highlander Hotel, Blue Ridge Mountain Realty, Norman's Cabinetry, just a few. Social media impact, I've already kind of alluded to this a little bit, but for the entire year 2023, our reach for Facebook was well over 60,000. Our page fans is well over 3,100. The interesting thing about our demographic reach is that inside Radford is 37%, outside Radford is actually 63%. And that's my goal, is to bring people into Radford. Chamber involvement, long list there. So like I said, it was a very busy year. The Easter egg hunt, which is getting ready to happen on the 30th of March. Come on out. We had our 9th annual golf tournament, the holiday parade. I mean, just a whole list of things that happened. The other thing that happened was the Virginia Living Magazine Best of Virginia. We had well over 26 different companies that made that list that the public voted for. I'm being a little bit redundant here, so I apologize. So the golf tournament, well over 20 different businesses supported us. It was a fun day. So I know Jesse was out there. Seth, did you play?
How'd you do?
We won't talk about it.
David alluded to the Halloween treat trail, which is always, it's amazing to see about 600-700 kids hit East Main Street. And the year kind of finished up with the holiday display contest, which Price Williams there on Tyler Avenue won the business, and the first place for the residents was 2005 7th Street. 2024 goals, we'll kind of allude to that in the MOU when I go through that. That is all for the annual report. That was very quick, and I apologize, but any questions about 2023?
Say is thank you. That was amazing. And I think it's good. Why don't you talk about the MOU a little bit, because there's some pieces in there, and then we can kind of do a round robin with all of that.
I did want to ask one thing that we had all kind of talked about, the sign program that you're working on for at the rec department and some of the ball fields. Could you kind of tell us where you're at with that and where you'd like to be?
Nowhere near where I'd like to be. So that program is second year in its existence. Not quite. Started the second year, but not quite a full year. So last year we had 4 businesses who joined and put their banners and that sort of thing up on the baseball fields and at the rec center. I understand the pickleball courts are supposed to be included in that now too, but that's rumor I hear. So,
If a business wants to do that, should they reach out to you directly? How should they go about doing it, or how can we get the word out?
Yeah, so if they have any questions about it, it's currently on our website, so they can find out information there. They can certainly contact me, and we can talk about it further. So the program is broken down to where it could be just the rec center on the walking track, and that's an all year long program. And then the baseball fields, which there's 4 of those, and there's the cost involved in that. So part of the profit funds goes back to the rec center to help support them as well. Did you want me to go into cost or anything?
No, maybe just a little bit. I think you did a good job of giving us the information, and we can help get that out to our businesses any way possible. But just want to make aware that you do
so
have that
I
program.
can tell you that it starts at $500 for a year, and it goes to $1,000.
Right.
So, and there's a mixture there if you choose to.
Awesome. Thanks,
Well,
Dan.
And you brought that up. That was something I wanted to talk about as we talked about the MOU. I'd actually like to see an increase in that program be one of our goals, that we set a percentage, whether it's 50%, 100%, whatever percentage or whatever increase we think we can get as part of one of our goals, because I think that's a really crucial part of promoting our businesses when we have tournaments and other events in Radford, but also making a little bit of money. That's a good thing, and it's a great way. People have advertising budgets. If we're able to tap into that, I think that's a positive. But anything else for Dan before he goes through the MOU? Because we'll have more time for discussion after that. So do you want to talk a little bit about your MOU?
Sure. So I'm going to kind of skip to the second page to what the chamber will do. And to be honest, it's kind of the same thing year over year. So if there's questions that you have about anything that I touch on that you don't know about, please stop me. So these are very high-level type bullet points. So I try to support the economic development in whatever way, shape, or form I can. And that can take on a whole host of different looks, if you will. We currently have a YouTube channel, which I'm slowly trying to populate, which is good for anybody who's looking to come visit here, come live here. I mean, we created the Welcome to Radford video a couple years ago. That's on there. I still run into people that, see it and go, I didn't know that existed. It's just a really cool snapshot of what Radford is. Obviously, the goal will be continue to increase our social media presence, website presence, effectiveness of our email blast and that sort of thing. We will continue to partner with tourism, with Kimry Pass, with the summer concert series and Easter egg hunt and that sort of thing. So the next bullet point is actually talking about Radford University and the hub. I think you guys talked about that a little bit early on. I think I caught some of that. Don't quite know what that's going to quite look like, but conversations are ongoing.
And that would be, not to interrupt you with what you're doing, but that would be one thing that I think would be really helpful is for us to better flesh out what that looks like for people that have a business concept or small business, particularly in Radford. That's something that might be helpful for us because we know it's an idea. It's just what does that idea look like and what's the timeline look like for that?
So, I mean, I certainly bring a lot to the table, so I'm willing and able to help people develop a business plan, how to scale. I've worked in many different industries. I'm very, very happy to sit down and have a conversation. So, yeah, to your point, small business development has, they've unequivocally said that they're willing to come to Radford and to the hub to help out as well. So, absolutely. Oh, yeah, Charlie Jewell is actually on our board.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to pull those connections in where it makes sense for us as well.
Absolutely. So do you have anything else you want to point out specifically in the MOU for us?
So probably the newest thing, which we just launched, is the Women's Leadership Conference. Super excited about that. The first one's going to happen on March 8th at the Highlander Hotel. It's being moderated by Carrie Johnson with ServPro, so she's super excited to be involved in it. I have a woman who is CEO. You'll have to come and attend if you want to see who these people are. There's some people from New River Community College that have been talked about tonight that will be on our panel as well, and looking to get one or two more.
Fantastic.
So already had over 20 people sign up for it. So that's an exciting program to see that level of willingness to come and be a part of a peer group that has a common thread to themselves.
Would you be willing to come back and maybe you and Jesse can brief us on how that went at our March 11th meeting? Because I think it's a fascinating thing and a wonderful new program, but maybe you could come back and just give us a little quick update.
Jesse would have to do that. I won't be in town.
Gotcha, okay. Well, if we can make that work.
And I know, on this list, it's sort of an umbrella view, but I do want to say this is one of the boards that I'm on, and my boards are all working boards, and I will tell you, this board is, they are busy. And just when you think that this list is comprehensive, I think right now where they're at is they're really rolling up their sleeves and putting on their work boots. And I think what you're going to see is we're going to be communicating with the businesses to just find out what have we been doing well and what do we need to work on to be better. And this board is wonderful, as is our director, with being very open-minded. We don't always have all the answers, but we're really eager to get them. And so just a little warning to our businesses that we are going to be reaching out and asking for a little bit more engagement to make sure that we're meeting your needs. And it really even goes back to something even simpler is where we're actually reviewing the mission statement and making sure that just that basic concept of what we're doing and who we are is really a good representation of where we need to be going in the community. So I just want to thank everyone on this board for all the time and effort you put in. These guys are workhorses and they care a great deal about the community. So it's really been a privilege to serve with you all.
So the other piece of the whole puzzle is opportunities. I've heard that word float here even tonight. So initially it was communication. So that's actually gotten better. So now we're finding out that opportunities that existed and what do you do with them from there? So that's an ongoing thing. You know, even the Radford University ambassador, there's 3 of them, but there's other people in that office. I actually made visits to all the different businesses here in town and had a whole packet of the Radford University program, the new program about the debt-free degree options and that sort of thing. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. I try to take aim at several of them and push those through. So if you hear of anything, send it my way. I will do my very best to move it on.
I think to kind of expand on that a little bit is one of the things that we're doing is, you know, we're not trying to recreate the wheel, which is another adage you guys hear me talk about all the time. We are wanting to know if there's some community that's doing something really amazing, let us know about it. We'd love to send out tentacles and learn from them and see how we might be able to adapt it to Radford. So, you know, kind of like the other things that we've been talking about when you're going around town or other communities, really see things. Don't just keep looking at them and driving past them. You know, if there's some really great things or great concepts in the business portion.
I don't have time to recreate the wheels.
That's right. We're hoping not to have to do that while being creative and cutting edge. We also want to figure out, like I said, what people are doing that we could do better. So thank you, Dan, and really thank you to all the work this board does.
Absolutely.
So the financial part of the MOU, I guess I'll come back to, is I'm asking for a total of $20,000. It's $4,000 for the Festival of Lights and $16,000 for the chamber. I guess this is the negotiation part.
Well, and we'll talk about that. Let's come back to that because we have $18,000 that's included in the current budget for it. So that would be something we would have to figure out an appropriation. So that may have to be a discussion we've got to figure out as we go through the budget season this year. But we have your request. I just wanted to make sure that is your accurate request is total of $20,000,
Well,
so $16,000 and then.
So the $2,000 add-on was kind of talked about last year about this time.
Right.
It was said that we would have to bring it to the next time we came to the table. So I brought it. I'm fine with the $14,000 if that's what you guys want to do. I get it. Everybody needs to tighten their belts and that sort of thing. So not being unreasonable at all here.
I would say I know we discussed this, and when's the last time you guys have received an increase from us? Do you know? I can't remember. It's been a while.
This is my 3rd year in at this position, and then I kind of was away from the chamber for a little bit, so I don't know what happened during that time frame, and I can't remember prior to that. So.
I don't think we've updated it in about 6 years. It's been a little while. We've been at this level for a little while.
From 12 to 14 in the last 4 years, probably right before Dan came on.
Right, probably. But I'll just say this, Dan. First of all, your social media game has really been impressive this last year. You've done a great job The videos, the working with our local businesses have been wonderful.
That's saying a
and-
lot coming from this guy, people. That's
No,
saying
but
a
I mean,
lot.
you know, telling the story of our community is crucial. No, it's really crucial, and you've done an amazing job, and I want to say thank you specifically because I know you've spent a lot of time on that. And thank you to the board members. You all have been wonderful helping to move the chamber forward and continue to advance us. I think the sign thing is a real crucial piece for us. If we can figure that out and get the word to our businesses, because showcasing what we have to offer in this community for all of our guests is important. And then you mentioned the Radford University part where they're serving as ambassadors to some of our businesses and that they've been down and visited. Some of that is so that when we have big events like Highlander Day that's coming up March 23rd, and there's thousands of new people in town and all that, the businesses can be aware and take advantage of that, and also to kind of know what's going on. That's one of our big struggles. Even though we're a small community, how do you know when events are? How do you know when activities are taking place? And, you know, trying to figure that out.
Yeah, to your point, so I met with Radford University about Highlander Days. I'm personally going to set up a table there at the event. There's 2 days, two days for that. I'll have information about Radford and try to promote the businesses here in the community and educate the parents and that sort of thing. So and then I can take that information and say, ABC company, you really ought to be there and, you know, promote yourself.
I think it's
So-
great.
That, I think that's a good idea, and I also would encourage you to maybe think or have somebody do that for the big rec hall tournaments that we have going on. I mean, you had 44 teams, I think at the prior one, over 30 this time, and I know I personally see the children going in and out of the restaurants, but that'd be a good opportunity too to help that. I know.
It becomes a labor time.
Yeah.
But that is something that we discussed in great detail at the last meeting. So I know you and I have talked about this several times, and it's something that is being looked at, and it's been identified. It's just figuring out the best way to do that. So
Even if it's a table with a swag bag or, you know, a list of all the restaurants with their numbers or something like that, that way you don't have to physically man it, but there is some information
idea.
that could be out
about
there.
promotionals too, from the businesses, that they're well aware in advance of when these tournaments are, and then, you know, they can put coupons down there as well to,
Maybe a bulletin board?
I think they,
Yeah.
I know they,
I know that Kim had produced some stuff that's actually out on the main white table as you go in, but I think if we could beef it up, I think that's kind of your point. Let's make it stand out even more. Let's, you know, do something with that. But I think a bulletin board might be great. I know we've got a bunch of bulletin boards at the rec center. We could buy one if we need to. We'll figure
and
it out.
many of us on the board have had experience of traveling to different areas for all-day soccer games and, you know, basketball tournaments, and you don't always know when you're going into town, and so you are more apt to be self-sufficient when you're just unsure. And so we've even talked about trying to get a hold of the communities participating even before they get here to be able to distribute some of the information. So it is something that we're looking at, and we're, I mean, open to ideas, I'm sure, right, Dan? I mean, we're open to additional
I tend to
input.
create far more work for myself because I am open to ideas.
Well, and we're also open to anybody that wants to help us do this. So again, if we have other people that would love to find a way, they say, I've always wanted to work with the chamber. How could I volunteer? That's a great way to get your foot in the door, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else? Kelly, Bobby, do you all have anything?
I did have one question. So one of the ways that you could get new revenue is making sure that you know, have more members. I guess that would be an easy way. I know that when we had a lot of businesses that were the best of Radford, or best of Virginia, I'm sorry, but they are the best of Radford. I reached out to some of them to congratulate them, and we got talking about chamber, and they said that they had not been, you know, approached by the chamber at all, and they've been in business for several years. So what is the process that you guys have for reaching out to new businesses and making sure that they know you're there to
Well,
support?
first off, I have to know they're here, so.
Okay, well then how
sometimes
can
I
we
just
fix
don't.
that to let you know that new businesses
I
are
don't
here?
know whether that's something that can happen in the city office.
I think we can reach out to the Commissioner of Revenue when they get a business license. That's probably the
Yeah.
best way, so that you get a list of everybody. And Kathy does a great job helping us with that, so we could try to facilitate that.
And then quite
there.
honestly, it comes down to time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, if I don't make it a priority in my day, then, it's kind of like today, 5 o'clock hit and I'm like, I haven't even looked at the MOU for you guys tonight. So, just, in preparing, it's probably not the smoothest presentation I've ever done. But to your point, in the MOU, there is a goal for new members, because it is a priority this year
Okay.
of 25%, which is a lofty goal. And a couple of my board members laughed at me when I told them that number, but I think it's doable. There's a lot of businesses here in Radford that are not members of the chamber.
And businesses nearby, too. You've done a great job partnering to get some businesses just outside the city as well.
Absolutely.
Is a part of, if someone was a member initially for the ribbon cutting, why did they not join the second year? What did they get from that we're not providing that we need to maybe step it up on? So, and I would say if there's a business that any of us here that says that they've not been contacted, let Dan know, because
Well, I think they feel
we'll
like
send them out for sure.
They should have been reached out to, not that they have to go and seek you out. I think that was the issue that they had. And I know there's only so many hours in the day and you're only one man, but if there was we could facilitate some kind of list that you would get and you could, prioritize it in some way.
Absolutely.
I think that would help.
No, I'm with you.
Okay.
I mean, the more we get, the more that we create a synergy. We create a stronger business network here in Radford. I see a lot of same companies in the same industry actually sharing, or if they have a problem, contacting each other. I mean, the amount of the whole friendship part of the businesses that operate in Radford and New River Valley is just phenomenal.
And we like more friends.
Yep, absolutely.
Bobby?
Yeah, Dan, so what do you need other than more time? Obviously, I know your plate's full. So what can we do to kind of help with that? I mean, I know we're talking about it. I understand that, but I mean, what's the biggest thing you need right now?
So the easy answer right now, without going into budgetary type things and what more resources on the labor side will look like, but to Kelly's point, if you hear somebody that doesn't know anything about the chamber, or say, I know the guy personally, I will get in touch with him and I'll get him here. And then just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to go. I used to love, this is just weird, and you're gonna laugh at this, but I mean, I'm an old sales dog, so going out and making cold calls, there at the end of my career was actually the fun part of the job. When I started, it was not, but at the end, it was fun. And I enjoy going out and meeting people and the business people and seeing their passion and figuring out how to make what their goals are match how the chamber can actually benefit them. I'm a huge return on investment. You'll hear me say ROI over and over and over again. So if it doesn't make sense for them to join the chamber, I will tell them. 9 times out of 10, though, it's usually the other way around.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Thanks.
And Dan, I'll just say this again. We are so grateful to have you in this role. Thank you. Thank you for the hard work you're doing.
Thank you.
Abram and the board, thank you all for the hard work you're doing. This is important for everything in Radford. I mean, a big part of the quality of life is the businesses and the activities and the things you have in a community, and we're so appreciative of that. So we really do thank you.
All right. Thank you.
More to come.
More to come. All right. Well, we will get back to any additional amount. $18,000 is included in that. I don't think we have to do anything other than approve the MOU at $18,000. If we want to consider the additional amount, we'll come back at that at budget time. Does that sound okay, David?
Yes.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding funded at the $18,000 that we have in the current budget?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we will have that additional discussion. I don't know where Dan went, but we will have that we will have that additional discussion about resources. Obviously, we're trying to figure out everything budget-wise, and, you know, we'll certainly have that conversation as we look at the budget for this year. Moving on, continuing with business, though, ordinance 1798, which is going to be our transfer of property to the EDA. As you may know, the city of Radford has acquired 80 acres of land that we have named the West Radford Commerce Park. Now, not all 80 acres of that property is going to be developed into economic industry or business, something along that line. We're going to look to take a parcel that can be known as primarily the West Radford Commerce Park and transfer that to the EDA. Earlier tonight, we had a joint meeting, a work session with the EDA where we talked about this. We talked about the efforts that are undergoing. I won't reiterate everything that we have to say there. It's really important for the future of our community. We're looking at grants that could potentially transform the site to get it closer and closer to getting a new business on there. We're looking at what we can do to help market the site, and you all can be our ambassadors for that as well. There is a wonderful video that exists that's a flyover of the site with a conceptual idea of what a building might be able to look like on the property. Share it, put it out there, talk to people, let folks know Radford is open for business, and Kim Repass is our Economic Development Director who can help connect them with opportunities. But one of the things we need to do with this property is schedule a public hearing so that we can consider this. And council members, we can do that on March 11th, which is our next meeting. Do we have a motion to schedule the public hearing for this property on March 11th? We have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so come back out on March 11th. Talk with us if you have any questions or concerns about the West Radford Commerce Park and the fact that we'll be working with our Economic Development Authority. Obviously, Kim and our entire staff here will be working on this, moving it forward. So now we do need to move on to some additional new business. The electric department is scheduled to replace a digger derrick, which is an essential piece of equipment for the department for installation and repairs. And we've gone through a bid process. We have a bid in from Alltech Industries. The amount is $324,939. Takes about a year to year and a half to get this. And so we're taking a look at this. Now, we had planned for this in fiscal year 23, which we concluded this past July, so or June, this money is there, but we do have to have this authorization. David, what would you like to share with us about this project?
Just all of these large pieces of equipment these days take a huge lead time in being able to get the order in. Once this piece of equipment is built and in our hands, is going to be at the end of FY 25 or the beginning of FY 26. So you have to plan out that far. You're not spending the money now. We don't put anything down. We just go into the order process. This company was on the state contract list, so we did not have to bid it out. But because the amount exceeds $50,000, we come to council for you all's authorization to move forward with the order itself.
And we're tightening our belts on everything. This is a need or a want?
This is a need.
This is a need. If we were not to move forward with this process, because money being tight and everything along that line, what would be our challenges? What would be our opportunities to rent something like this? I mean, how would it affect operations?
This piece of equipment's not easily rentable. If we ran into a problem, we certainly would either have to hire a contractor to perform the work for us. That could slow us down. This is one of those pieces of equipment when a power pole breaks or we've got some kind of emergency, as you all know happens, this is a piece of equipment that goes out. The piece of equipment that we have is getting some age on it as a 2012. The thing that goes wrong with those things is their hydraulics and things like that. So it becomes not only performance and reliability measure, but also safety measure for the employees that are up in the bucket truck to be sure that, you know, hydraulics don't break or something like that. So we usually try to work those pieces of it out. If we do wait, we know that the price escalation is about $54,000.
Is there a way to refresh the one that we have, and while we do that, find alternate ways that, so this overall price might be smaller?
It would take a while to refresh the one we have, and it's expensive.
Okay.
So it's every time we've looked at that, it's been about more efficient to go on and buy a new one because it lasts so long when you put it in the process.
Okay. Any other
'Cause it will
questions?
have another 10 to 12 years of life in it when it comes in 2 years.
And how much do you think we'll get on surplus for the old one if we sell it?
I was gonna ask.
Haven't looked at it at this point.
Okay. Council members, any other questions, concerns?
I think those were pretty much the questions that I had emailed you to ask you. So at this point, we don't think it's salvageable, the digger.
It's, no, not likely. We will put it in surplus once the new piece of equipment comes in.
Okay. And as far as like vital operations,
For how much the last couple we've been able to get out of those in surplus or trade.
right. And as far as like viable operations for the electric department, this is essential. We feel that we need this to do our job.
We don't
Okay.
have that many of those pieces of equipment, and they are essential.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a large number, and I know that equipment costs a lot, and given our financial situation, it does give me heartburn, but I do realize that equipment phases out, and it does wear down, and that's part of the process. I just want to make sure, and I think David asked the questions I was curious about, that we had explored all those options before we did decide to move forward with this purchase of equipment.
Yeah, and while I wish we could wait on it, the fact that it's so far out, I think we can plan on the purchase once it comes in. The other aspect of it is if you wait, you're talking about price escalator of $54,000, and it might be, you're talking about 18 months to 2 years or longer out before you get it if we order it, like wait till the fall or wait till next spring.
And as far as the actual payments, those, we're looking at the fiscal year 2026 for that to begin?
It'd be the end of '25. If it's 12 months from now, be ordered probably next month. 12 months, we put it in March. Things haven't been coming in that fast, so
Right.
it's probably going to be summer of '25.
Can we delay a couple of months on the order and see if we can get it so that it will take place in the 25-26 budget?
We can.
Okay. Does that make sense for everybody? I mean, I don't want to put the electric department at risk. That's the hard part. We're trying to find every possible savings we can find, but we don't want to screw something up to save, a little bit of money that costs us millions of dollars ultimately.
For it looks like Alltech is the company that we're working with. When do they, for this purchase order, for this price, before it were to expire or change, what, did they give is it a 30-day, 60-day that we would have to approve that purchase order?
As I understand, we would need to move forward now or it'll go up.
Okay, as in today now? Okay.
Well, any other questions, council? Yes, sir.
Yeah, David, I'm just curious, so do you think the current digger that we have right now will continue working until we're waiting?
We're going to get through, yes. We think
Okay.
we can get through the 12 to 18 months.
Okay. All right.
They take really good care of the equipment. This is a department that really can use things as long as they can. And that's been the philosophy now for a number of years, is to try to make sure that things are washed, they're maintained, you keep them up to date. But then they get to a point that they start costing more than the service life you have left on them, and safety.
Okay.
With that, if for some reason this takes 18 months and the current digger lasts 16, we have to go with contractors? Is that what you're saying? You don't rent a piece of equipment like this or work with another department to borrow one for a period?
You'd have to go to one of the other members, which is a pretty good ways away, and I imagine they're in the same boat we are with limited amount of equipment. So since this is a primary item, I just don't know of any way you could really rent one and come out very good on it.
Okay.
Do we only have one? We have two. How old is the other one?
The other one's a little, we always keep one in the background, so the oldest one will go out. So there's another one that's newer than this one that will stay in as the backup.
Like 3 years, 8 years?
Probably 3 to 4 would be my guess.
I don't remember us buying it while we've been on
I'm
council, so
trying
it's
to-
probably
I'm
6 years old, yeah.
Long time.
I was gonna say, I don't remember that either, so it might
That's a
be
big
a little
number.
older. Yeah, I think I'd probably remember that. These are not the fun, sexy things
Big
that
things you
everyone
bought.
enjoys necessarily in the community, but I assure you,
budget,
if the
yeah.
electricity goes out, you'll want that showing up, and you'll be realizing probably how pretty and sparkly and special it is.
Yeah, we've been on fire trucks and ambulances lately.
Yeah.
We have been.
Any other questions, council?
If you approve it, I'll double check on everything before, some of the questions. I'll follow back up. Those what my knowledge is, but I'll check with Tim tomorrow to make sure I haven't misrepresented anything or looked at anything.
And the one would not suffice for us. Usually if there's a call, we're dispatching more than one at a time.
the ratios, things like that. I mean, usually when you have something out, you got more than one pole down in a bad storm or something.
Well, and just having a backup, even if it is just one, having something there is important, so. Okay. So, this is a big number, but we've kind of talked it through and tried to see where we can go. Do we have a motion to move forward with the purchase order with Alltech Industries?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And David, I know you'll do.
I'll note tomorrow what I find.
Yeah, you'll do your best on this. I think this is, one of the challenges as we talk about tightening our belts. We ask every single question, but some of the things you don't know you can do without, and that's the hard part.
And you see our reluctance. This is not any fun for any of us. This isn't one of the exciting purchases, but again, I think if you're in the community and you're in need and your electricity goes out and it's 5 degrees out, it'll pay for itself, I'm sure.
One of the things about the department, the people and the equipment, they get right out. As soon as something happens, we get power back on, and that's what everybody knows us for.
They are always
The power is only
complimented.
gonna be out for a short period of time. You can have some short candles in the house.
And David, how much has inflation affected purchases like this?
Gosh,
I mean, this a
4
few
to
years
10.
ago would have been,
the last
a couple
one's,
$100,000, right?
248, 280s, somewhere in that range. Don't quote me on it, but that's about what they were.
Well, the floor is yours. Would you share some things with us? First of all, we're glad to see you back here.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling? You holding up okay? We got to shut up so you can get out of here, right?
Far so good. So just a couple of quick things. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Scott Gardner, I think, is here. I'm not going to steal his thunder, so I'm going to let him tell you his good news.
Come on down.
I've got just a minute for that, and then I'll go from there.
Thank you, David, for giving me some of your time. Yes, thank you, Council. 2 exciting announcements. The first, both having to do with grants. So we've been rewarded 2 grants. The first is from the Virginia Department of Forestry. That's for $4,400 for increased tree canopy and to create literature talking about what trees do for our environment and what the key species are. The other big one that we're very excited about is we did receive an award from the Commonwealth History Fund, and this is a project through the Virginia Museum of History and Culture and the Dominion Energy. We've received $30,000 from them. We're contributing $5,000 to it and a lot of in-kind services through our work. But this project is going to provide a chairlift between the 2nd and 3rd floors of the museum, which has been a major issue of not being able to get people to the 3rd floor if there's any kind of physical accessibility issue. We're also developing a new exhibit called Building a New Life, which will chart the history of the Reconstruction period after Civil War, with special emphasis on the African American experience in Virginia and Southwest Virginia. And then we're also looking at other preservation efforts for the building, including window coverings to mitigate the light damage being done to the collection. But kind of the really exciting thing about this is we were among 14 sites awarded this for 2014. And we'll share the video, but we have some amazing company, including Thomas Jefferson's Poplar Forest, Historic Jamestown, and the Virginia Tech Foundation.
History is more than just a collection of dates and events. It's the essence of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. As your state's history museum, we are committed to doing everything we can to save and share our collective story. With the generous support of Dominion Energy and others, the Commonwealth History Fund was established in 2022 to provide critical financial support for great history work taking place in communities all across Virginia, preserving our unparalleled cultural heritage and illuminating untold stories. Since 2022, the VMHC has awarded nearly $1.2 million to 37 organizations representing all regions of the state. With projects ranging from digitizing materials in Appalachia to preserving the historic First Baptist Church in Williamsburg to revitalizing the Algonquin language, Each and every project and each and every history organization plays an important role in deepening our understanding of Virginia's past and shaping our collective future. This year, the VMHC received dozens of applications, a testament to the enduring passion for history across this Commonwealth. After careful deliberation, nearly $400,000 will be awarded to 14 organizations. It is our honor to announce these deserving projects, our Commonwealth History Fund 2024 awardees. To learn more about the 2024 grant recipients and their inspiring projects, visit virginiahistory.org/historyfund.
So those were our announcements. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you to you and the board and everybody. This is amazing, and we're really appreciative of this. This is wonderful news, and thank you for all you do for Glencoe. Thank you so much. Council, anything else? Just more applause. There we go.
Say this is a board that, another, as you see, working board that I sit on. I'm surrounded by greatness in all these boards, and I want to say that we have some really top-notch individuals that are used to grant writing, and sometimes our demographics can pose a challenging, situation to our community, but it also makes us really ripe if we know where to look for grant opportunities. And so they have really made that a top priority. And the best part that I really liked about it is out of 30,000, the match is 5,000, and some of that can be in kind. So they know what they're doing, they know what they're looking for to give us the best advantage. So thank you guys, and thank you to that board as well.
Outstanding. David, what else do you have for us?
Again, thank you, Scott, and the Radford Heritage Foundation. Y'all do a super job of being custodians of the building the city owns with the museum and everything that you all do to keep that building alive and open to the public, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you and appreciate all you do to pursue every kind of grant that's out there. Kim, you got a special event coming up? I do. Go ahead.
Hop on over.
So we have our annual Easter egg hunt that is going to be at the end of this month on Saturday, March 30th. Kind of kicks off our summer, spring events that we have in the city, so we're super excited. Aside from July 4th, this has really become one of the most attended events that we have in the city. It is from 11 to 2. We have vendors, we have food trucks, we have ice cream. Aloha Eddie's is going to be there. We have Curtis Crowder from PSK that's going to be there live, so we're super excited about that. Also, Community Life Church is a huge help for us every single year. They step up, do popcorn, face painting, cotton candy, all the things, and it's free. So they're always there, fantastic and willing to give a hand. The Chamber of Commerce is always there and very supportive for us, so it's an exciting event. The hunt will actually take place at 12. So it's always a madhouse, and we're excited. We have 12,000 eggs that are already pre-stuffed and ready to go for everyone, and some special golden eggs will be there as well for each age group. So super exciting.
Thank you, Kim. That is wonderful. It is one of our best new events.
Our concert series 2024 will be coming out this week. So look
Okay.
for that as well.
Big announcement.
Yes, big announcement.
Awesome.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, just a couple of other quick things. We talked earlier, we're very excited about where we stand on applying for grants and moving forward with the West Radford Commerce Park. More details coming on that. We covered that a little earlier in the work session, so I won't go back and rehash that. Of course, very saddened and concerned for the employees at at Moog. I hate that that has happened to them and in our community. We'll certainly be moving forward. Kim will be as she works with them on transition and what happens to move that building forward to make it something viable in our community as they wind down at the end of this calendar year. So our hearts go out to all the employees there. Lastly, just mention, you all know, I mentioned it in one of the last budget meetings, and we'll be talking about it more in the budget. Wholesale power, all costs of everything are challenging. Wholesale power has been one of the largest concerns because it's the largest portion, one of the largest portions of our budget next to salaries. About $1.4 to $1.6 million is the monthly charge. We had 1.6 is the current amount, and then we had a fuel charge on top of that that came in December that we'll be carrying through the remainder of this year. So as we watch those cost increases as we move forward with looking at the future of our wholesale power purchases, we're narrowing that gap between what it costs us to buy wholesale power and wield it through, because we have expenses once we rule just one you all had tonight, while that gap is still good to be able to support our purchases and the things that we need to do to keep our department the best that there is. That gap between the cost of wholesale power operations and the revenues is shrinking. So we've got to continue to watch that, look at those transfers, and we'll be talking about that a whole lot more. Just want to mention it because it's going to be some things we'll be talking about as an intro as we go into the budget sessions coming up. The last thing I have, I just need a quick closed session on with both legal and property.
Yep, we'll get to that in just a minute. Can we talk a little more about the wholesale power thing?
Sure.
Last time we adjusted rates in Radford was 2019,
Did
correct?
it twice last year, in January and again in April last year.
But we didn't change the actual power rate.
Oh, no. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, the wholesale power adjustment charge floats with that, and we're looking at that now, and we may end up having to do one before the end of this year. We still are competitive with others in the market, but we have not adjusted the rate since 2018. Correct, the base power rate, and we'll be talking about that as we go into the budget.
Right. That's an important thing for us to keep in mind, because for many, many years, one of the arguments for the city of Radford is we make enough on our electric department to be able to fund so many other things in the city. As that margin gets squeezed, it puts us in a position of how do we make enough to fund all the things we've been talking about this evening, for example. How do we make enough to be able to fund equipment and services and things that move us forward? So that's why this is a really important discussion for us to have. And so thank you for sharing that. And we were going to get into this in much more detail as we go through the budget process. So come out and join us, watch us online, be a part of that discussion, because that's really important.
And I did say base rate on that, didn't I?
Base rate 2018, but wholesale power, we've had several things that have been pass-throughs and things like that. It's real complicated, but the bottom line, no, we're basically that margin's getting squeezed significantly over the last few years, definitely in the last few months, and that's been a
Base
challenge.
rate is based on 1,000 kilowatt hours.
Yep. Seth, what do you have?
I'll just keep it short. I wanted to thank everyone who came today and gave us their presentations. It was great. Appreciate the farmers market, the chamber, and Scott with Glencoe. I know all you guys work very hard in the community, and all of us are very appreciative of that. I was also able to tour Tech Lab with the mayor and Kim Repass, and it was a great experience. I want to thank Steve Harvey for allowing us up there. They do some really cool stuff up there, and are a huge part of this community with jobs and creation. It was I went once when I was a little kid, but to go back through there and see the scale of the operation that they have going on was pretty impressive. So I appreciated that opportunity. I'll echo David Ripass' sentiment. My feelings and thoughts are with the families that are affected by the Moog closing. I hate that, and I know that we'll work with them the best that we can, and hopefully that we can get that facility rented out and full as soon as possible. They don't happen overnight, but I know that we're hopeful for that. Last thing I'll say is I wanted to congratulate Taven Williams for his wrestling state championship at 157 pounds. I know him personally. He's a good kid. He works hard. And wrestling's a tough sport, so really proud of him. Also wanted to congratulate Maggie Page. She was the first female medalist in RHS history, so Good for her. That's awesome. And that program, I know they've put a lot of work into it, so it's cool to see the wrestling program have some success. So congratulations to them. That's all I got.
Thanks, Seth. Jesse, what do you have?
So this evening, my moment of silence was dedicated to Alfred Harvey, who was killed in action during World War I and was a resident of Radford. One of the things that I had, I was looking back through my notes, and one of the things that we had had in the past, I know we've asked and they've had to cancel or they didn't show up, but we used to have a meeting with the commanding officer at the Arsenal where we would have an idea who they were. They would brief us on some of the projects they were doing, and I know we had invited them not too long ago, and yeah, and so is there a new installation? I know, is it like
We had
every
an
2 years?
installation last summer, so
Right,
there
so
is
they
a
have
new one there
another,
now.
so
Yeah.
another, but is it a 2-year
Yeah, typically.
installation? So, I mean, I would love the opportunity for even the people in the community to know who that is, and I'm sure that, you know, we all have lots of questions. So is there a plan maybe to re-engage them? And if you need help, I do cold calling. I'll go and cold call, we'll get Dan, we'll go cold call him, or her.
Last time, 2 different times, it was lined up and got canceled. so-
Yeah, I remember.
So we'll follow back up with that.
That just keeps coming up in my notes, so I want to follow up on that. I'm going to keep it brief, just a couple of the things since our last meeting a couple weeks ago. I am now on the Community Justice Board. We met in Pulaski, and I would love to tell you more about it, but I do not have a good handle on it yet. I did receive a packet. I made sure that everyone has a packet. I would like you to probably pay a little bit more attention to the first page where it says pretrial investigations. This actually is very interesting. It does talk about the placement in the court system. It talks about demographics, gender, age, employment status. So it's just a nice snapshot to see some of the activity there. And I hope to be able to share more with you, but this is what I received, and so I'll keep you posted. I still am sorting through that myself. I want to thank the mayor for representing at the Polar Plunge. I heard a lot of wonderful things said, so thank you for dipping in and getting wet and very cold that day. I met with the Heritage Foundation, and they're already in the throes of discussing Mary Draper Ingalls Festival and ongoing grant opportunities, so you'll find more of that happening in the days to come. I also have a list of core events for 2024 that they're doing, and it is quite extensive. And if you look at my notes, I'm writing because we're adding stuff. I'd like to see if there's a way, like if maybe Scott and someone within the city, if we could get these posted to the city site, so we're like a hub, the city, you know, site is a hub for activities going on, which we keep talking about. It's kind of hard to know what's going on. But if everyone kind of had a place they could go to, that might be helpful. And I thought maybe if Scott could work with someone to give a quick synopsis, because there's a lot here going on. And I know I don't like to hear about it after it happened the day before, and my friends have told me how fun it is.
Scott,
So
you want to make a video? We'll make a video. Okay. All right.
yeah, yep, not me, none of that for me. But I don't know, it's just something that we might want to talk about, and if something I need to help and volunteer with, to just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to do that. And just a shout out, I know we've been talking about the electric company, and I have to say, in the 6 years that I've been here, sitting here, that department, they're really like silent soldiers for us all. But what I do appreciate is people in the community, that's probably the department that, since I've been here, that have received the most letters just commending them for the work that they were able to do and the quick turnaround with utilities. So I just would like to give them an extra shout out. And we don't see them, but when we do, it's really important and we're really glad. So that's really about it for me tonight.
Thank you. Kelly, what do you have for us?
I did have a meeting with Bobby, with the RU president. I'll keep it short. It was very informative. He had a list of things that he wanted to discuss, and a lot of those same things were at least on my list. I think they were on Bobby's as well. And it's nice that he is open to discussion. We talked about some positive things, and then we definitely brought some negative things that we wanted to make sure that he knew were giving us heartburn. He was very open to discussion. and had some good ideas for bringing more of a RU presence to Radford that was not buying real estate, so that was something that was good. We talked about amphitheater and ways that we can make sure that we don't recreate the wheel and both utilize that for both the city and the campus. So I think that there are many more great discussions to be had there. So that was really nice to have him want to sit down and reach out with us to have that done. I also had a joint commission meeting. We spent most of the meeting talking about a deeper dive into the economic development report that was recently done. I'm going to ask either Charlie or Angela to come sometime after budget season when it's not so busy to come and share that with you guys so you can see the huge positive impact that Radford University has on the city. It's not all negative, and it's really good that they can share that information with you. And they want to continue to try to do that on a more regular basis because it hasn't been done in quite some time up until now. As Chris said earlier, Chris Calfee said, you know, NRCC is a huge asset to our community. Radford University is as well, and so is Virginia Tech for that matter. We're very lucky to have these colleges around us, and they don't only provide a good education for everyone, but they provide so many other opportunities for everybody in the community. So I think we need to really be thankful, as Chris said, for all of those things that we have. You know, we're a very small city. We can't, you know, put a Target and a Walmart everywhere, so we're lucky to be able to have those things for our citizens to utilize. I encourage everybody to go fill out the survey for the farmers market and make sure that you give them all the information they can. And congratulations to Glencoe for getting that grant. And I remember you saying that you wanted to lift at one of the very first meetings that we had when I first got on council. So I'm glad that that is something that we've tied a bow on and gotten accomplished. And I think that's all for me.
Thank you very much. Bobby, what do you have?
Give me one moment. Just want to thank Kim Repass going with me to Tech Lab. It was quite an experience. I was excited to be there. And to be honest, I walked away thinking, I think this company's got more going on there than what meets the eyes. I feel like they've grown tremendously while they've been there. I know Kim was telling me, you know, if we walk to the back and normally that area was open, she goes, well, this is all new, and you know, so they are expanding inside there, and I think we have a lot of opportunities. I think the city and Tech Lab working together, it's going to be exciting. And two things that they told me, and a reason why they want to be here. Well, the reason why they still want to be here. Let me correct that. They like the local politics. Don't laugh. And I'm in agreement, okay? But, you know, we don't hear that often. They like the politics here, and they also, the city is so easy to work with. And they said, you know, the people they answer to, they're like, so the first thing they ask, how's the politics there? It's like, it's great. They work with us any way they can. Well, likewise, elsewhere, for example, Blacksburg, to be honest, they don't have that. They're hard to work with. The politics is terrible. You know, so anyway, we got that going for us. I also want to appreciate everything that Kim has done in relation to the two basketball tournaments. Big success right there, and I appreciate that. Thanks to everyone that helped out at the Polar Plunge. I wasn't there, I was out of town, but I'm kind of glad I missed it. I didn't want to get in, but you know, hey, you know. Oh, how far did you go under?
I just went in up to my chest. I didn't go all the way under.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It was cold.
Okay.
That's about this much more than I did, though.
Me and you both. And the other thing I have to want to mention, just the everybody that came forward here with the presentation, everybody did an outstanding job. So you did better, much better than I would have done. But thank you for that, and That's all I have.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I was really impressed. I'm glad Seth mentioned this. Our wrestling team did an amazing job, both the boys and the girls. And I have to say, Coach Martin and his whole team have done a really amazing job. That program for the young women didn't exist a couple years ago, and he's brought that along so significantly. And for Maggie to be the first female from Radford to place in a medal in the state is just tremendous, and it's a wonderful piece. I also want to mention our Bobcat Theater Company had Clue. That's another wonderful thing that's going on. We have so many students at the Radford City Schools who are doing amazing things all across the board, and we're so appreciative of all of them. Many folks from our community participated in the polar plunge. So I was happy to represent council. Now, next year, you all can all join me. I'll go in with you. The water is actually not the worst part. The water was 46 degrees. The air temperature was 30, and it felt more like 18 or 19. That was the colder part. Getting in the water wasn't that bad. But having said that, it's a silly thing. My mama taught me better than to stand around with barely any clothes on and jump in the river in the middle of winter. But without that, we wouldn't have raised just under $100,000, which blew away the $80,000 goal.
Doesn't you represent us great? Because you guys at all, actually.
But
You got this.
that money goes for our athletes here in Southwest Virginia, in Radford, in Blacksburg. We had several of the athletes speak, and what this means to their lives and their families is everything. It's really tremendous, and they are so appreciative, but such great ambassadors for their particular sports and the things that they do. And this isn't possible without every single member of the community coming together. I specifically want to mention Emily Height. She does a great job with the Radford City PD, and Jenny Goodman-Webb, who also works with them on promotion, plus our whole staff. Without our whole staff, without the police department, and without our fire and EMS and the swift water rescue standing in the water for well over an hour, even though they're in wetsuits, it's still cold. And they're taking care of all of us. This is a great community effort, and folks from Lynchburg, Roanoke, all the way down the highway until you got to Wytheville came to Radford and participated. This was our largest ever. We had 340 plungers and thousands of people in attendance. So it was a really cool day in all kinds of ways. But we're so appreciative of everybody. You know, we talked economic development tonight. We talked about some of the challenges and opportunities we have as a city. Together, there's nothing we cannot do. And I appreciated your Grow Together message for the farmers market. I think we can work on these things together and move forward. There is a lot of opportunity. We have our challenges, and we're aware of that. But everybody is working to try to build the Radford for today and for tomorrow as we move forward. And as a part of that, I will now entertain a motion to enter into a closed session for the purposes of consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, specifically to discuss the Prospect Hill property pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A8. Do we have such a motion? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. We need to take a little break. You all, if you want to wait, you can, but we're going to have a few minutes of closed session, then we'll reconvene. Thank you. The water isn't the worst part.